Are you an upcoming entrepreneur or author? Have you been looking for direction and know that God has more for you? Hi, my name is Quinona Gifford, aka Mrs. Q. Becoming is a podcast about entrepreneurs and authors, trials and tribulations. We always see them rise. Here we will hear them overcome. There is a power in every step. Welcome to Becoming. I am your newest podcast host, Quinona Gifford. This platform is designed for upcoming authors and entrepreneurs to inspire and encourage through testimonies of successful authors and entrepreneurs sharing their experience on how they have overcome trials and tribulations. Now listen, I have a belief. If you keep yourself open, your life is about to change. Let's go. Hi, my name is Quinona Gifford, aka Miss Q. Thank you for watching another episode of Becoming. I have a special guest with me, somebody that absolutely makes me look good. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. I am Camelia Gilbert, aka Kayla Shea, and I am assistant to Mrs. Q. And I'm excited to be here tonight, and so that we can share with you all how did becoming become, and learn about Mrs. Q as well, and how did God birth this ministry through her. We're excited about it. So we want to get started tonight and find out some things. Okay. So Mrs. Q, tell us, how did becoming become?
Well, to be honest, becoming came from, it started with the book um, that God was kept reminding me about. It took a long time for me to submit to write the book. But after I did, submit and I sat down and I wrote it. To be honest, what I first did was I wrote the introduction. And I remember one was a friend, another was a coworker, and I allowed them to read the introduction. That was just like me taking one night and just writing what God was, talking to me about. They were like, "Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to read this book. I cannot wait." And it stirred something in me, and so I just submitted. And I think within a month, maybe 6 weeks at the most, the book was done.
Wow.
And it, like, I was just like, okay. And then the book became, I mean, because the book is more about the necessary need of leadership. So many
Gotcha.
times we're in our head, and we're like, one of the chapters is called the power of decision. And I believe,
Mhm.
especially us as women, we don't own how powerful we are once we decide to do something. And then another one is delays will come. And sometimes when delays come, we think that we are not in the place that we're supposed to be, but it should be a
Right. Right.
sign that we are more aligned with what
Okay.
God said. And that's why the attack came. And
Mm.
so, I know that I'm in this place where I know that my leader has helped and shown me little nuggets and little things that have made me the woman that I am today.
Absolutely.
And so I just use the book to, because I think we're in such a time where, like,
Mhm.
microwave time, where
Oh
people want
yeah.
quick fix, or, one day they're in the pews and then the next day they're in the pulpit, and we're
There's the
like,
pulpit.
well, where did you come from? Where
Yeah.
what leadership did you sit under? Where did you get your
Yes.
wisdom from? Why should we,
Yes.
trust our soul with you? Because what who have you trust your soul with? And
Yes.
back in I don't want to sound like my parents, but back in the day, you had to literally
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
your
We old
pastor or
school thing.
something before people accepted you. So
Right. Yeah.
but I think we're kind of straying away from that, and I think
Hmm.
that God wants us to be back on that because it's a power
That's right.
in following. It's a power in
It is.
submitting to leadership because once you submit and once you stay focused, they can pull things out of you that you may have not pulled out yourself. Like a lot of people, when we're talking about my book, and because my most people don't know, but my book is like a self-care book. And I'll tell you a story and then I'll ask you questions. And when I ask you
Okay.
questions, um they're the deep questions. People say, well, I ask myself questions all the time, but do you ask yourself the deep questions? Do you ask yourself the questions that bring tears to your eyes? Do you ask yourself questions
Yeah.
that bring you on your knees? Like, that's the kind of thing. So the book became a documentary. Once it became a
Okay.
documentary, it was parallel to the book. It was still talking about leadership, how important leadership is, how necessary leadership is. And
It is.
once then it became a conference. And so, right along that conference, that's when I realized, because I've started seeing the attacks and different things, I realized that this thing was bigger than me. I realized
Bigger. Yeah.
that God was doing something. He was stirring something in me that was making me become a better woman, making me become a better person, making me become a better mom, making me become a better wife, and then the whole part of a woman, not just one piece. But the book and the becoming and all, they're not just for it's not just for women, it's for men too. Like, we all go
Absolutely.
through processes. We all go through a point where we need a leader to speak life into us. We need a leader to shift our minds. We need a leader to guide us. That's the whole point.
Right.
Is sometimes we say, well, God can talk to me, but certain things God's not going to talk to you about because, one, you're not
It's
ready,
not.
and two, you can't handle
Yeah. Yes.
it.
Yes. Amazing. So can I put this plug in here right
Yeah.
there? Because if you're listening, you're understanding that about the book. So can I put this plug in right here? If you do not have the book, Becoming Wine, I think you need the book. You know. So can you tell them how they can get the book?
You can get the book either on my website. I have a website, which is www.mrsque.com. You can get it on my website, or you can get it on Amazon. And like we said, it's Becoming Wine. And it's not talking about
Yeah.
drinking wine, it's talking about a process when Jesus
The
had
process.
his first like when he did his first miracle where Jesus turned water into wine. It was something that happened in the water that made it the best wine. It wasn't just regular
Ooh,
wine, it was the
ooh,
best wine. The king said, y'all saved the best for last.
yeah.
And so that
You gonna have me
represents
running, girl.
so
I'm telling
that
you.
represents
I am
my
telling you.
yeah.
That's
So
amazing. And that's
yeah.
amazing. And it's really vital. And like you say, with leadership. And like you say, that we got microwave sinks now. We from the old school, where you said you had to, you had to go through the process. And I mean, and so one thing I've realized about great leaders, they were under great tutelage. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that's why it is important to be under leadership. It is very vital because great leaders, were once great followers. You understand what I'm saying? And they had to get to they had to be they had to be conditioned. They had to be prepared. They had to be, because even the Bible talks about that. Even the kings and the queen, they are under. They're not kings and queens they be taught. You know what I'm saying? And so that's very vital. I love that. I love that. All right. This is exciting. This is so exciting. And I'm excited as to what God is doing in your life. And that was, you kind of hit on my next question. And that's when you finally realized that this is bigger than a book. This is more than a documentary. Okay. Now I have a conference. So you realize that God was getting ready to birth something out of you. And at that moment, what were your thoughts? What was going through your head when you realized, okay, wait a minute?
And I know myself enough to know that I understand why God don't give me. Like when I was writing the book, he didn't talk about no documentary. He didn't talk about no conference. I say yes. You know how they say, sometimes you say yes to things, but you don't know the full picture of what you're saying, and that's literally, I gave God the yes to writing the book. I gave God the yes. But then after I gave him the yes and finished the book, then he started dealing with me about the documentary. Then when he started about the documentary, he started dealing with me about the conference. And then he started dealing with me, of course, about the podcast. And I think by the time I got to the podcast, I was like, okay, let's go. Let's go. Because I know that they're all parallel to each other. Maybe doing it, but they ain't gonna do it the way God showed me to do it. And I'm okay with that, because I'm not in this race with someone else. I'm in this race with myself. And so when I sit there and when I sit there and think about being my best, I want to give God my best because God gives me his best. Most people think I like attention, which I'm the complete opposite. I really like to be in my bed watching a movie, chilling with some popcorn.
In the background.
But the sacrifice is worth it, because if it's going to change the next generation, if it's going to make people see things better, make them hold on better. Wait, like you go through the attack, hold on to the promise that God has for you. And we give up way too quick, and that reward is right around the corner, and we like, I ain't taking another turn. So to help people endure, that's the plan.
Yes. And so what advice would you give someone that has come into the knowledge, that has really acknowledged, okay, I know God is trying to birth something through me. I know that he has something greater for me to do, something greater for me to be. What advice would you give them into helping them become who God has called them to be?
Well, one, I would seek God. I would seek God more on that. I would seek more on the vision of it. I think so many times we grab something and we move, and we don't give time for the seed to sink in the soil. We don't give time for the seed to get root. When you look at a tree or you don't see nothing. It goes down deeper in the soil way before it starts sprouting out. And I think so many times we want to birth something, we want to do something, we want movement, but a lot of times research, that's movement. Find out who else is doing this. Get you a mentor, get you a coach, get you, even your pastor, your leader, submit it to them and just pray about it and listen to what they're saying. Don't just get them. You don't want to, so I would say just take time. Take time. Not be slow-footed, because it's a difference. Take time. Ask God, what am I supposed to do with this? Even when you have a gift, what am I supposed to do with this? Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so many options, but we just assume and just form instead of asking God, what is this you get? I remember even with the podcast, I was quick to give a date and I fumbled the ball because I didn't go back to God and say, "Okay, God, when do you want me to do this?" And it was 6 months,
Mm,
almost a year, and I had to do some research. I had to prepare. It was equipment that I had to
mhm.
buy. And even as we start now, it's things now, but in 6 months we're gonna look different. In 6 months
Yeah.
from now, we're gonna look another different because it's not the
Yes.
full vision. Sometimes
Mhm.
you gotta just know when to start and what to start with, and then keep going and then let God evolve it. Cause you gotta you definitely have to show him that
Mhm.
you're serious.
Wow. That is good. That's real good. And that got me even thinking. You know what I'm saying? You said something that really stuck out to me. You say when God gave you the podcast, you immediately saw the date and it was just like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and hadn't gone back to consult God, even Lord, when do you want me to start? You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I
Yes.
do a lot. You know what I'm saying? He downloads something in me, and then I think, okay, it's time to run with it. And now sometimes let God cultivate what's going on. Let him, yeah, that's good. That's good. And I appreciate you
Some
for
things
sharing
need to
that
sit.
because
Things need to
mm-hmm,
sit and marinate. Ain't nothing
mm-hmm.
like some good marinated chicken or a
Ooh,
good steak that's been
yeah.
marinated. You put it on
Oh
the
yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's a part of even becoming. That's even part of the process of becoming. You have to sit and marinate. Like you say, get under good leadership, get under good mentorship so that you can be taught, so that you can, like you say, and that's something that I always do. Like I'll share with you. Someone told me one time, they say, you are a great ambassador for
Mhm.
Christ. And the first thing I did, I accepted the word of the Lord from them because I knew them. And so I knew that, it was from God. So what I did, I went home and I said, okay, what I'm going to do is look up the word ambassador. And so I let me find out what an ambassador is, what an ambassador does, what is
Yes.
required of an ambassador. And so that's what we need to do. And then I got, like you say, I submit to leadership. I talk to my apostle about everything. I don't do anything without consulting her because I know she watches for my soul.
Yeah, because so many times we have to know that if God is speaking to us, He may not
Hmm.
be speaking everything that He speaks to us to our leader, because that's why
Right.
communication is important. But He's
Hmm.
speaking to someone about because someone has to guide us into this place.
Right.
Somebody to
Right.
I remember one time my friend, one of my best friends, she literally said she was like, Kwinona, we know you can do it. You are amazing. You're amazing at starting stuff. You're very creative. But if you just take time to build one thing for the next 30 days, how farther will you be? And I was like, what? Like, and so I started using that strategy instead of trying to do everything. I started just focusing on one thing that was going to move the needle, one thing that was going to be better, one thing that was going to make me better, one thing that was going to position me better. And so since I've been doing that, things are starting to sprout a lot quicker because I can give that one thing my best.
Hello, everyone. This is Transformation Thursday with Minister Kayla Shea. Listen, we want to talk about the promises of God. We know that the Bible is full of promises for His people, but today we're going to highlight the promise that is in Isaiah 41 and 10, where He says, "Fear not, for I am with you." He said, "Don't be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you." He said He will help you. He will hold you up with His righteous hand. Listen, we don't have a reason to fear. We don't have a reason to be discouraged. We must put our trust in God. We got to lean not until our own understanding. In all our ways, if we acknowledge Him, He will direct our path. We got to understand that God is with us in every aspect of our life. He's with us. He's there for us. He's here to strengthen us. And when we're going through, it is not to punish us, but it's to prepare us for what's greater, for what's to come, for what we're praying for. So listen, don't fear. Don't fear even what the enemy may try to do to you. You got to know that greater is He that's in you than he that is in the world. We got to even understand God knows the plans that He has for us. He knows the plans. He wants to prosper us. He wants to make us better. And see, our plans can't even fathom what God planned for us. Just like my shirt say, His plan is bigger than ours. What we want for ourselves cannot even be compared to what God wants for us. He also said in His word that the sufferings of this present time are not even worthy to be compared to the glory that shall be revealed in us. I want to encourage you today as we go through this Transformation Thursday. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you can prove what is that good and perfect and acceptable will of God. Stay in His will. That's the safest place in the whole wide world, in His will. So I want to encourage you, don't fear. Don't be dismayed. Don't be discouraged. Don't be disheartened at what you're seeing, because you cannot let what you see make you forget what God said. You have a promise. If God promised you, He's well able and He will perform. So hang on. Keep building. Stay focused. Hang on to the promise of God, where He said in Isaiah 41:10, fear not. Don't be afraid. Don't even be afraid of the unknown.
You know, we have been talking about becoming, and we actually have something in store, which you just watched. God gave me something, and like I said before, when God gives you something, it's not just for you and it's not about you. You know, some things you're allowed to position other people in the place. And so you just recently watched Transformational Thursday, and that's something God gave me about shifting people's minds about His promises, reminding people about His promises, His plan is bigger than me. So I asked my assistant on not every episode, but most episodes, to do Transformational Thursday that God's giving us, because we don't want to just own them, you know, but we take our promises serious. But also to help remind you and make you aware to ask her a question. Okay. Because as you know, this being my vision, but she so willingly helps me anywhere that she possibly can. How does it feel to do Transformational Thursday?
It feels amazing. Number one, because it's my element. You know how who me? What? But having the opportunity to share with people the promises of God and helping them transform their minds so that they can transform their life. Oh, that's my kind of carrying on right there. That's my kind of carrying on right there, because that's what you have to understand. If you can transform the way you think, then you'll be able to transform the way you live. And so we want to take that opportunity to remind you, because sometimes you already know. You just need to be reminded.
Yes.
Yeah, remind you of the promises of God, because the Bible is full of the promises of God. The Bible is written to the saints. It's written to us, Sharon. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you just need to be reminded, because a lot of times life just be lifing.
So
Listen,
you have to
it just
just
be
get
like,
yeah. And so just get that. That's amazing. I am so excited. I really am. I really am. I was nervous, but I am excited because that's my element there. Because I that's what I endeavor to do. That's what I desire to do. I want to help people change their lives, and that's part of becoming.
yeah,
Because you have to change your mindset. You have to change the way you think. You have to change the way you act. You have to change the way you talk. You have to change the way you show up. You
yes.
know,
Yeah.
I'm just honored. I'm honored that you even considered me. That is indeed an honor. And thank you. I do appreciate you.
Okay. Yeah. So what can we look forward to?
Well, you can just look forward to just inspiration, motivation. We're gonna get our mind up. We're gonna get our thought
Yeah.
pattern up. We're gonna transform our lives and become who God has called us to be and walk boldly therein. Because sometimes it's kind of it's kind of it makes you nervous. It's kind of but no, we're gonna stand firm and bold in Him because whom He calls, He qualifies. So it's already in you. You just got to be nurtured and just bring it out you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it will actually be in the center of the episode. So look forward
Okay.
as you're watching it.
Okay.
And we're super excited about it.
I
Like
am.
I said, you just watched it. You'll get the vibe of who she is and how she'll present it. I just told her what she just did it. She did it her own way, and I love that about her because so many times we have leaders or people that
Hmm.
dictate the way we're supposed to be. And the way I was taught was you give a person assignment because that was meant for them to have, and
Hmm.
they'll bring it into their own characteristics and
Absolutely.
and they'll own it. It's nothing like a person that can be given something and then own it and make
Hmm.
it better. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I appreciate God for you. Right. So I want you to tell us, now that we've got the introduction, introductory part of becoming, tell us what we have to look forward to. I'm excited in the upcoming episodes, in the near future, in the far future. What do we have to look forward to?
Well, look, I am super excited because it's funny because the thing about recording is you have all this different people you already done interviewed and you're like, oh my goodness. But the power in a person's
Mhm,
story, it
mhm.
does not matter who it is, it doesn't matter what they do, the power in the
Yes,
story. It should not
yes,
be not one episode that you can't grab something from.
yes,
Whether if it's what to do or what not to do. I'm super excited because not only are these people being pouring back into this community, they are willingly
mhm,
pouring and giving you nuggets. We love the word nuggets, giving
mhm,
you nuggets to carry on your journey and make your
yes,
journey better than
yes,
where they made a mistake. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to save
absolutely.
me time, save me
Yes,
money, make my journey better.
mhm,
And I say this all the time. If you come in with an open mind, if you
yes,
come in wanting to glean and wanting to get and receive, you're gonna be better. Your life will change every
yes,
episode. Every episode, a layer will be taken off. Because I didn't necessarily just pick the people I knew. I picked the people that have impacted my life, that have
yes.
shifted my life, and have made my life better.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is awesome. And that gives you the opportunity to let people know, you know, how you became, you
Hmm.
know, and it, like you said, you pick people that was very influential into your life, and
Yeah.
that makes you relatable. You know what I'm saying? Because some people will look at you and they don't realize what you had to deal with. Like you said earlier in the episode, you gave God a yes, People don't understand what the cost of that yes has costed you. You understand? They will look at you, they will see the glory. They will see, you showing up to church every Sunday. They will see you showing up with a smile on your face, not knowing sometimes you had to wipe your tears before you got out the car.
Listen.
You know what I'm saying? Not knowing I'm dealing with life too.
Yeah.
But being relatable, and they can see the fruit
Mm-hmm.
of that labor. It was worth it. It was worth
Yes.
every tear. It has been worth. So I'm excited as to what God is really doing. And I appreciate you for even being submissive and accepting this and running with it so that you can inspire others, even like me. You know what I'm saying? Stop
Amen.
sitting on what God has given you and just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Do it.
Allow
Because
him
it's a plan. It's a
Mhm.
plan of the kingdom. It's a piece
Mhm.
that it's like to me in my life that it's a big puzzle,
Mhm.
and you're a piece of the
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying, of the kingdom. And when you do your part, it makes the
Mhm.
puzzle better.
It does.
And
It
so many
does.
times we think, well, our little part, but
Mhm.
so are you saying God's a lie?
Okay.
Like he
Okay.
gave it to you for the kingdom.
Mhm.
You think he wastes time giving you something? That's another subject.
That's a whole nother subject for
Another
another day.
subject.
Mhm. I'm telling you, because like I said, whom he calls, he
Mhm.
qualifies.
Amen.
And a lot of times we don't feel like we're worthy. We don't feel like we're equipped enough. But even if you're not, guess what? Like you say, get under tutelage, get under great leadership, get you a mentor that you know is after God's own heart,
Mhm.
that will help guide you to where you need to be. Like you say, you need to surround yourself with people that match where you're going.
But
You know,
even on that,
yeah,
ask God who you supposed to be under. Because
absolutely.
it could be somebody great,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't mean that great for
They're for
you.
you. They're great for you. That's right. That is right.
Yeah.
That is so true. Yes. Make sure and like you say, you get rooted and just bloom where you're planted. Don't be just hopping and skipping because it's not befitting for you at that time because he's not hearing what you know. God is grooming you. He's molding you, and it takes time. So get planted, get rooted, and continue to grow. You got to stay focused and continue to grow.
Yes.
Mhm. I love it. I love it. And I'm excited about this, and I'm ready. I can't wait to see the upcoming episodes, because God, this beautiful woman of God, y'all need to really just follow her on all platforms. Follow her. This is an amazing woman of God that has an amazing heart, a heart for God, a heart for God's people, and to even, come and after all the adversity, after everything she's been through, still ready to pour. When I tell y'all, this is going to be some good stuff. This is going to be some good stuff.
I'm
So
just excited because
I'm too.
like I said, my journey is not easy. Most people don't know, but like I think I talked about it in one of the episodes, but my publisher quit before I even got started, so I believe in my heart that I have a grace for the underdog. I have a
Mhm.
grace to help the underdog because I felt like the underdog.
Mhm.
Well, majority of my life, I felt
Yes.
like the black sheep. I
Mhm.
I didn't blend in with nobody. I
Right.
didn't get along. Like not saying get along as in attitude, but nobody ran up to me. I wasn't the
Mhm.
it girl. I wasn't
Right.
and it's
Right.
okay. I
Mhm.
understand the value of who I am now. But
Absolutely.
if you ever feel like like you gotta find yourself in Christ, because when you find yourself in Christ, then you'll understand why it was important for you not to
Yes.
blend. Why it was important for you not to be part of the clique. Because how
Yes.
you gonna bring the people out of the clique if you in the clique?
Exactly. Exactly. I tell people all the time, you don't fit in because you're meant to stand out. You have to be a trendsetter. You have to be, a leader.
Hmm.
And I mean, it gets lonely
And a good
sometimes.
follower too.
And a good follower too.
Yes.
That's true. It gets, like you say,
And you gotta
being
ask God when.
underdog, you know how it feels. You
Yeah.
know how it feels. So that's how you know how to reach out. You
Mhm.
know, I love it. God knows I do. And I'm so excited for you. I'm so proud of you. I
I'm
am
excited
so
for us.
proud.
I tell
I'm
you
proud of us. I'm
I'm
proud
excited
of
for us.
us. Yes. Yes, it's
I have to
dynamic.
remind her. It's us.
Yes, ma'am. I do. I know. I know. I know. But you're so humble. You're so humble. And I appreciate God for you. And y'all, you can put your seatbelt on, get
Mhm.
your notepads out, get you some little tissue too, probably, because it's gonna hit home. But I'm telling you, by the time you get down in this, you're gonna be better. And
Yes.
you're gonna see who you're gonna become. I love
Yes.
it.
Yes. And that's literally my prayer is for you to walk through every episode,
Mhm. Yes.
every that you're so excited that you're waiting
Yes, for the
to,
next.
for the next one, because
Mhm.
this is definitely not about me. This is not about me. This is about people finding their place in the kingdom,
Ooh.
people finding who they are in the kingdom. The kingdom, we talk so much about the church and this and that, but
Mhm.
maybe the church is the way it is because you haven't stepped in place. Like, we want to give it to the
That's good.
pastor, we want to give it to the leaders of the church, but even the parishioners have a place in the church.
They
And
do.
if you're not in your place, if you're at home and
Mhm.
watching online and not in your place,
Mhm.
then that becomes a problem. I ain't trying to preach church to you. I'm just trying to prepare you for life.
Yeah. The Bible even it patterns the church after a body.
Hmm.
And if one of the members is not there, now you think about if your finger is not functioning right, it offsets your whole body.
Yeah.
So, like she said, if you're not in place and in alignment, the body is offset. We need you. The kingdom needs you. It's not
Mhm.
about just church because there ain't no need to go into church and you ain't changing. The kingdom needs you. That's another. That's another. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's David right now.
yeah. We'll leave that right there. I know we talked about Becoming Wine, your book, but girl, you got about 25 books. Can you tell them about the rest of them? I mean,
Not 25.
I'm speaking it because it's it. They in you. They in you.
Mm,
Ah,
so, okay, so I have written some books. I well, first of all, I talked about in the episode before about my process about writing books.
mhm.
But I'll go more in detail about the books. I've written The Moments When God Touched. It's a basically a book. It's a small book. All my books are readable. They're like you could really read them in one day because they're
Okay.
not
I
like.
like
But now you will miss a lot of nuggets if you do that. If you read it to get finished, the preacher, Pastor Lisa Knowles said this weekend that when you we the goal is not to read to finish a book. The goal is to become a reader.
Hmm.
And I was like, wait. Okay. So anyway, hit me. So listen, thank her when you see her. So that book it was just a book like when moments when God was changing my life. God,
Mhm.
I knew God was real. And then I wrote two books called Leap Into Legacy.
Oh,
And that was like me gleaning after my pastor. He spoke different sermons, and I kind of gleaned from him. And then it has like the reason why, like fear, the reason why you should defeat fear. And then it has a prayer, it has prayers on fear, like
gotcha.
because we say everybody knows how to pray, but I didn't want the ones that didn't know how to pray, not to be, like not to have some guidance. You know what I'm saying? And I even put some of the prayers that were in the Bible in there. So you
Okay.
can have some guidance and some kind of things, but they're like sectional bits. So each
Okay.
section has 3 parts in it. So that's these 2 books. And then I wrote Leaping into Purpose, which is literally what it is. It's leaping into purpose. It is
Mm-hmm.
a book that talks about a butterfly.
Okay.
And I talk about the egg, the caterpillar, the cocoon, and then I talk about the butterfly, which is basically, the egg is the beginning, So I
Mm-hmm.
talk about my life, my beginning, my parents, my relationships with my mom and my dad. And
Okay.
I was a daddy's girl, and I wish I knew my mother um a lot better before she passed.
Gotcha.
She died when I was 9. And then I talk about the caterpillar, because nobody looks at a caterpillar and say, "Oh, you're
Right.
gonna be a beautiful
They
butterfly."
don't.
They
They
never.
don't.
They're like, "Ugh, nasty." So I talk about abandonment, rejection, and
Wow.
then yeah, and then I talk about the isolation of how God literally, because I was a event hopper. Like I would
Mhm.
go from every conference that was in town, and God stripped me of that because every place is not meant for you to be. Every
No.
place is not meant for you to embrace. Some places they just taking your money. It's just not saying nothing's wrong with them or nothing wrong, but that may not be the place for you.
That's right.
So, and that's when he started dealing with me about um intentionally being in a place. So that's my 4th book. My
Okay.
5th book
Yeah.
was a devotional.
Okay.
And I was like, now listen, Lord, I don't know about this devotional thing. But literally I had to post it so I could finish it.
Gotcha.
But I've heard great reviews on my book, so it's a blessing. And
Yeah.
then my 6th book is, I'm trying to remember these, is Born for This, which is a collaboration with a group of women, the space with them where they write their story or tell their story. And
Okay.
that's a great book. And then that was what, sixth, seventh. My
Mhm.
7th book was
Mhm.
my daughter. I wrote a book about my daughter going to the Navy and how God had revealed to me that that was the place that she was supposed to be. My 8th book is Becoming Wine. I think that's right. My 8th book
Mhm.
is Becoming Wine, and it is about I already told you about, it's about processing and the necessary need of leadership. And
Mhm.
then my 9th book that I just recently revealed
Mhm.
on June the 2nd is The Colors of Worship, where it's another book with a group of me and a group of other women, powerful women, that where we talk about the power of worship.
Oh.
One talks about how worship helped them get over grief, and one helped help them develop the relationship, and so it's just like how worship helped them. So each one of them had a color, and we have
I
a
can't
solid
wait.
color shirt on.
I can't wait.
And so yeah, so that book will be released soon. But that's my books. But and I've had some co-author books that I've written with some other
Okay.
women called Hello Queen 1 and 2, and then Trumpet. I don't even remember all this, but T came to me to write a piece in their book. So yeah.
That's amazing. I'm gonna have to look up that.
Oh, and they're all on my website. Well, not
Hey.
the collaboration books, but everything else. And it's some on Amazon too.
Okay. That's amazing. So listen, y'all see y'all hear right. Amazing. Just amazing. An amazing author, amazing wife, amazing mother, amazing friend, amazing mentor, amazing midwife, or just amazing.
And so please, please, please make sure y'all get these books. Make sure they will bless your entire life. And it'll help as well on your process of becoming. I'm telling you, it really will.
Yeah,
Y'all hear it, you know,
a miss.
black and white.
Leaping into purpose and becoming wine are two self-care books. I forgot to tell you that. They're two self-care books. And what I mean by that is I tell a piece of my story and then I ask you a question that's going to shift your mind, change your mind, change your perspective. Like when I talk about how I had to forgive and how I had to forgive. And then I asked, who is God telling you to forgive? Because I just don't believe that you intentionally get something for no reason. Like it's something in there that God is trying to do that he had me write books in a way where you could pick it up today and then 6 months from today you could pick it back up and
it's something different.
It's something deeper that you gotta go research and get. So yeah.
I love it.
On the Mama website.
I love it. Go to our website, www.mrsq.com. Yeah. Period. It has been such an honor, has been such a pleasure to speak with you tonight. And I'm not trying to make anyone jealous or anything, but I get to work with her, so I'll see more of her anyway. I love you.
Look, this is how she act behind the scenes. So please know that this is how she act.
Yep. That makes it so much better. I have
to take the air out just to make sure I don't get no big head, but I love her. She God did his big one with her. So yeah.
Likewise. So it has been such an honor, such a pleasure. And we look forward to seeing you all in the upcoming weeks. So get ready to becoming with Mrs. Q. All right.
But remember, caring is sharing. So share us with someone that needs to be encouraged or inspired, an entrepreneur or a person that is wanting to become an author. We are so excited and ecstatic about you spending this time with us. And until next time, become who God needs you to be.